Hi, this is the AM News on the AM Show. Details now. The priest of St. James Seminary Senior High School, Father Sixtus Evans Apiatreme, has admonished Ghanaians to be prepared for life's uncertainties by living a worthy lifestyle to please God. Father Sixtus was speaking at a Requiem Mass in Sunyani on Wednesday night for his former classmate, Squadron leader Peter Bafi Anala, who died with 7 others in that helicopter crash last week. Former mates of the late pilot shared some fond memories and precious memorable captures in this report.
Squadron leader Peter Bafi Anala completed St. James Seminary Senior High School at Abisim near Sunyani in the Bono region 2007. On July 22, 2025, Peter flew a helicopter over the school and shared an area video with his former mates. He promised his mate, Father Sixtus Evans Apiatreme, who is now a priest at the school, that he would be back to see him. But 2 weeks later, Squadron leader Anala tragically died in the August 6 helicopter crash at Adansi with 7 others, including 2 ministers of state.
Peter was a classmate who was an interesting person. He had a sense of humor that we all admired a lot. And to lose such a person is not easy at all. It's very painful. A solemn requiem mass by the old student of St. James in Peter's honor was attended by many, including former Attorney General Alfred Tuanyeboa. Some of his mates shared their reflections.
We were admitted into St. James as seminarians, so we were in the seminarians dormitory. So he was a very nice person, jovial. He has this bubbly personality. Peter's death, is a big blow.
Peter was a dedicated member. In fact, on our pages, he's always around. Peter was serving the nation. He served well. So we are very sad.
Father Sixtus in his sermon said, "We must be prepared at all times by living a worthy lifestyle."
What we are seeing today is also a caution to all of us that this life is unpredictable. Anything can happen to us. We don't know what is in the next hour, so it can happen to all of us. That is why we also need to prepare ourselves all the time, trying to be in good relationship with other people, just as he did, all the time, so that when our time comes, we will not be found wanting. Let us pray that God will find a better place for Peter.
A state funeral is slated for August 15, 2025. Precious Semovo Joy News, Sunyani.
Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejapong, has shed light on the challenging circumstances surrounding the transportation of remains from the helicopter crash site in Adansi. He says, contrary to speculation, body bags were indeed available at the scene, but the extreme heat of the remains rendered them unsuitable for use. Instead, cocoa sacks were utilized to convey the remains, sparking controversy over the dignity of the victims. Speaking to journalists here in Accra, the Chief of Defense Staff explained that the intense heat of the remains made traditional body bags impractical, leading to the unconventional use of cocoa sacks. And Collins Frimpong has more in this report.
The remains from the Z9 helicopter crash placed in cocoa sacks sparked public debate. But Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General William Ejapong, told the media body bags were available, but the remains were too hot to use them.
We had to do the recovery effort with the available and appropriate material we have on the ground. We had some body bags at the scene, but the remains were so heated that it was not conducive for the bags to be used. It was in a thick forest, it was getting late. We had the option of leaving our remains there to the following day, and we know what could have happened to the bodies.
The Ghana Armed Forces has now secured approval from international institutions to join a high-powered board of inquiry probing the crash. Deputy Defense Minister Bruja Jemfi told the Ghana Traditional House of Chiefs the team is working with top global investigators to determine the cause.
We also want to assure you that the Ghana Armed Forces have already begun investigations into the incident. We have made requests for international collaboration, and we have received positive response in that regard. And so we want to assure you, our chiefs, that nothing will be covered, it will be transparent, and the public, Ghanaian public, will know exactly what happened and the cause of this tragic accident.
Security expert Dr. Victor Doke says the move for foreign assistance strengthens rather than undermines Ghana's capabilities.
In this case, now what I see, in my opinion, is that the investigations with regards to collaboration with international agencies will bring some sort of an enhanced process. Now, it doesn't mean that we do not have the capacity to do that. There may be some challenges with regards to equipment to ascertain or to verify, to do a forensic analysis, which is not available. But that does not mean we cannot seek for international assistance.
Aviation specialist Professor Daniel Kwesi Ejekum has also outlined the technical areas the international investigators will examine.
What we have now in terms of recovering the flight data recorders and the cockpit voice recorders, we should be able to get the original equipment manufacturer and maybe an accredited lab to be able to have the hardware and the software to be able to extract the data. And then we'll look at some of the performance parameters in terms of the airspeed. And it's not only the flight data recorder that is going to tell investigators, give them an idea of some of the causal and contributing factors. We are going to look at the air crew, their personal data in terms of their medical records, their training records. We're trying to understand what was going on in the minds of the flight crew. The FDR gives you factual data, but you also triangulate it with all these other data to build a holistic picture, which then gives the investigators, we call it findings. So we'll come up with the findings, and then based on that, we build probable hypotheses as to why and how this happened.
Now, the IGP's Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force yesterday faced intense resistance from angry illegal miners in Bonteso, near Manson Kranta in the Ashanti region, as they were pelted with stones. The Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force seized one excavator from the illegal mining site, but the operation was met with aggression from the community, led by the area's Assembly member, Patrick Asari. Let's tell you more in this report.
IGP's Special Anti-Galamsey Task Force came under attack today as angry illegal miners led by the Assembly member pelted them with stones after the team seized one excavator from an illegal mining site at Bonteso close to Manson Kwanta in the Ashanti region. The team came under attack by almost large crowd from the community pelting stones in an attempt to attack the team. The team is seen firing warning shots to disperse them, but they kept coming. Leader of the team, ASP Bawa Abdul Jalil, and Sergeant Agblepe Mawena Yao sustained some injuries. They managed to arrest the Assembly member for the area, Patrick Asari, and two others, Oseivasko and Akwesi Amponsa. After a series of warning shots and targeted arrests, the task force managed to control the situation, dispersed the hostile crowd, and transported the seized excavator to the Manson Edubia police station. They had to leave one excavator at the site due to the hostile situation. The Manson area is noted for years of extreme illegal mining, destroying farmlands and polluting streams there.
In other stories, if Adobia can just come down for me, Ghana and its stakeholders are being urged to place industrialization at the heart of efforts to advance the country's green energy transition agenda. Speaking at a climate change and green energy engagement organized by CASA Initiative Ghana in Cape Coast, the head of nuclear and emerging green technologies at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Robert Sogbaji, stressed that the global economy is being shaped by the energy transition and called on stakeholders to integrate industrial initiatives such as refineries into the National Green Energy Transition Plan. Abigail Iselin Nkrumah has more.
CASA Initiative Ghana is a natural resource and environment NRE governance civil society platform operating in 7 NRE thematic sectors. In Cape Coast, the initiative led an engagement on climate change and Ghana's energy transition agenda with civil society and faith-based organizations. According to Jonathan Coker, the coordinator for the initiative, the engagement is to ensure inclusivity in climate change conversations, indicating that the mission is to make the understanding of Ghana's energy transition agenda easier.
We are intentionally engaging these stakeholders to bring to them an understanding of the energy transition plan for Ghana and how the Ministry of Energy is taking steps to make sure Ghana achieves its energy transition and climate change targets under the UNFCCC. So the agenda is to break down the national energy transition framework and the agenda to the level of understanding of these stakeholders and how they can find entry point to support government in the implementation of this agenda. Going forward, the little things we can do in our own communities to reduce emissions. So talk about the cutting of our forests, talking about, emissions that are coming from our agricultural sector, the methane that is coming from animals. So what we need to understand first, then we can take steps to reduce the emissions that are coming from our activities as local level stakeholders. So that is the understanding we are getting here today. From here, we'll take steps to implement some of these actions in our own small ways.
Dr. Robert Sogbaji, the head in charge of nuclear and emerging green technologies at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, noted the significance of green transition while urging stakeholders to undertake industrial revolution.
Energy transition is real. If you don't transition now, we will transition in the near future because the world will force you to transition. We have what we call the green trade, where you all produce that you have must come from clean energy production. What our advice is that we shouldn't be a net market of importing clean energy products, but industrial revolution must come in. The energy transition should lead to industrial revolution where we should build refineries of clean critical minerals. We should also build the products, and we should also make sure that we are consumers of the product of clean energy technologies that we have in Ghana in terms of wind turbines, electric vehicles, solar panels, and batteries for the technologies that are going to be manufactured.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Iselin Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
A group of NPP constituency youth organizers and their deputies thronged the party's national headquarters to pick nomination forms for the 2024 presidential candidate, Dr. Mamudu Bawumia, ahead of next year's presidential primaries. Amid chants and dancing to party songs, the supporters were briefly joined by NPP General Secretary Justin Kodua Frimpong, who clarified that his presence was purely coincidental and not specifically to witness the group collect Dr. Bawumia's forms. Here's more.
Well, former Vice President Mamudu Bawumia has become the latest member of the New Patriotic Party to officially pick nomination forms to contest in the 2026 flag bearer race of the party. But he did not pick it himself. 490 youth organizers of the party picked it on his behalf. And according to them, they think that he is the best candidate to lead the party to victory come election 2028.
We are here today to pick the form for our incoming president, inshallah, Dr. Alhaji Mamudu Bawumia. And we believe that this is a gift to Dr. Alhaji Mamudu Bawumia. At this critical moment in our governance as a country, looking at what has happened over the 7-month period, the only savior that can restore the 36,000 people that have been sacked, youth that has been sacked, is Dr. Alhaji Mamudu Bawumia.
Well, the former vice president also thanked the numerous youth organizers who picked the nomination forms for him, saying that this is a remarkable vote of confidence, and vowed never to engage in politics of insult.
The youth are a major asset for our party. They represent the future, and they are an asset not only for the party but for the nation. And I want to thank them for this major vote of confidence. But let us say that I want this flag bearership election to be conducted with decorum. We are not in a campaign of insults.
Well, former Information and Works and Housing Minister Kojo Opon Nkrumah, who has also publicly declared his support for Mahmoud Bawumia, says that he agrees with the former Vice President that this is indeed a vote of confidence in him.
He's already committed to them that he's minded to contest. He will be making a formal declaration. But to start off with the largest bloc within the party, which is the youth, is very, very, very encouraging.
From the campaign office of Mahmoud Bawumia, my name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Business Updates is up next with Samuel Kujubrace.
Well, let's do business updates now. And the Bank of Ghana has taken additional measures to deal with high non-performing loans in banks and other financial institutions in the country. We have more in the following report on how these new regulatory directives will be working.
The Bank of Ghana in the notice argued that the action is aimed at dealing with increasing risks to industry's profitability, liquidity and solvency, as well as threats to the stability of the entire financial system. It also re-emphasized that these measures will be in addition to existing prudential guidance as well as best international practices for managing credit risk. The measures will push all these institutions to maintain a robust credit risk management framework and ensure that all their processes are in line with the new directive. Banks and other financial institutions are expected to adequately manage credit granting functions. All these financial institutions have up to end of December next year to fully comply. According to the latest economic and financial data, total industry non-performing loans has reached about 20%.
Senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, says it will take a while for banks to adjust their rate despite the significant drop in the policy rate and the Ghana reference rate. He argues the banks would have to recalibrate their systems to charge the corresponding rate on their facilities. Speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Amwa appealed to businesses to exercise patience as the banks work at reducing their interest rates.
It is not the case that the banks are reluctant. One expects that in a competitive space, the banks will have to react or respond to the reduction in rate. But we also need to understand the banks that they have also contracted the deposit from depositors. It is very possible that the banks may have, promised some rate on these deposits that they now have to consider the sort of loans and credit requests that they will meet. So yes, rates have declined. From the monetary policy point of view, it has fed into the Ghana reference rates, like rightly said, so the banks must respond. I believe strongly that they will respond, but we need to give the banks some time for them to recalibrate their system, assess the pool of deposits that they are mobilizing and the cost of those deposits. Now, they will then factor that into the loans that they are going to create. So it is not on one hand that once the rates have declined from BOG, then it means that the banks will have to also decrease it. Yes, they will decrease, but they also have to look at their input cost and how that input cost by way of capital will influence their business. So yes, they will reduce it. It's just a matter of time.
Well, let's conclude the business update with what's happening on the commodities market.